Hello everyone, I am your host Vincent Lowry and welcome back to another great episode of Generation Gap. Our topic today is gun control and we have a very excited discussion to talk about who and how they are exactly associated in society. So I'm going to start with my wonderful panel. They're going to introduce themselves from my left to my right.
All right, well, I'm Mary Romeo, and I'm a junior studying communications media.
I'm Julian. I'm also studying communications media.
I'm Hannah. I'm a sophomore, and I'm studying physics here at IUP.
So 2 communication media, 1 physics. We have a very excited discussion, but right now we're going to turn it over to Victoria for a field report.
Hi everyone, this is Victoria. I'm your host for Generations Gap Field Reporting, and I have some questions on gun control, which I'm going to ask my friend Stephen here. So Stephen, the question that I have for you today is, has there been, or why has there been such a sudden increase of gun violence in the past 10 years?
First of all, I definitely think there has been an increase, and I think it is because the value that we place on human life has decreased in the last 10 years. For example, 5,000 babies are going to be aborted today. Those are lives that we're not placing value on. When you devalue life, human life just becomes another thing that we can just throw away. And that's reflected in the way that the things that people do with guns. When life is devalued, you know, what's stopping someone from killing people with guns in public setting?
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, well thank you for your response. I'm Victoria, your field report host, and this is Stephen.
Thank you, Victoria, for that wonderful field report. But now let's get into this discussion. So the first big question I'm going to ask you guys to start everything off, what is your take on gun control? Mary, we'll start with you.
Well, I think with everything that's been going on lately, there's been so many shootings. I think that there needs to be more gun control. I think that everybody has the right to bear arms, but there needs to be some stricter laws with that.
And Hannah?
I feel as though gun control is important, but there's a certain way to go about it. So if they have the right rules and everything like that, it could really make the world a better place.
I don't think there should be gun control. I think there needs to be people control. Guns literally aren't the problem. It's people with guns who are the problem. I've never been afraid of a gun or a person, but I'm cautious around people who are irresponsible with their weapons.
And with going off of what you just said about, you said right to bear arms, stuff like that, do you think that exactly gun control takes away our Second Amendment?
I think that with the amendment, yeah, it was made in the 1700s, and because of that, we now live in the 2016. So I think that we need to kind of adapt to the world that we live in, and I just think that, like going off of what you said, you know, people are the ones that are the problem with the guns. But what about like accidents and stuff like that? You know, sometimes there's a loaded gun in the house and, you know, like accidents happen. Kids could pick up a gun and shoot their sibling or something, you know? I just think that sometimes the guns are a problem too, along with obviously the people in front of them.
Well, yeah, but most of the shootings that I hear about aren't accidental, and most of the guns that people use to shoot people purposely aren't registered. They're not legal. So I really don't think that gun control legally is going to really solve the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that too. It's like no matter what you do, there's gonna be a problem.
And Hannah?
I feel as though with the gun control, you can never like solve something completely. So there's always going to be a way to get a gun, a weapon from somewhere. So gun control, it can't really solve that problem. But with the amendment, we do have the right to bear arms. So, and it goes along with this day and age. It was different back then. So it's not really a fine line. It's kind of hard to determine that.
Going off of hard to determine, do you think that it really wasn't made for our today's society, that it was made in the 1700s and it was made for that society and not today's modern day?
I can agree with that. Today, you know, people are different. They act different. I wouldn't say there's kind of more violence. I would say kind of violence in the world, and people, you know, not just gangs. There's people that react to everything. So if they get their hands on a weapon and use it, then it's just different than it would be, I guess, back then.
I just think that, people that have guns, they obviously want to use it for some sort of purpose, and whether that be for like hunting or killing. But there just needs to be like that line,
Going off of your question, if the gun amendment was made for the 1700, or was it 17th century? I think the founding fathers may have had the idea that people would be using their arms for protection and not necessarily for violent causes or selfish causes. I also think that they did take into consideration that some people would have bad intentions. So
Thank you, gentlemen. And right now we're going to turn it over to Malusi for some questions on gun control.
Hey, all you Gen Gappers. Before we go to commercial break, I have a question for you guys. How many guns are in the USA? Is it A, 450 million, B, 320 million, C, 310 million, or D, 400 million? The answer when we come back.
You know that show everyone's been talking about?
Schizophrenia.
I know you watch Schizophrenia, right?
Excuse me? Dude, these charts are off the radar. Oh my god. We're in love.
You know who this is. Stop dancing right now, you punks.
And it's all over. What an incredible display of good sportsmanship.
Yes, tell your friends, but only the hot ones.
Welcome back. Before the break, I asked you guys how many guns are in the USA. Is it A, 450 million, B, 320 million, C, 310 million, or D, 400 million? The answer is C, 310 million. Now off to our field report with Victoria.
Hey everyone, this is Victoria, your host for Field Reports. I'm back again with questions on gun control, and I'm here with Antoinette, and she's going to answer one question on gun control. Antoinette, how do you feel, or what do you think about carrying guns in schools? Should teachers and security officers, should they be allowed to carry guns in schools?
Well, I think security guards should. I don't know about actual guns with bullets, maybe like taser guns, nothing too extreme, because you don't want any children to get killed out of nowhere. I don't think teachers should carry guns at all. I feel like maybe they should be more protected. In the last couple of weeks or so, you've seen a lot of videos on students who are acting really harshly towards teachers, and they don't really feel safe because I think the new law is that teachers aren't even allowed to place their hands on the students. So it's like, how do you defend yourself? But I feel like sometimes some teachers or security guards do get out of hand when it comes to disciplining students who are problems. I guess like they're too forceful. They act like these are almost like terrorists, children, but they're children. Once again, like no one should be too forceful with children. I mean, but maybe sending a letter home or something to the parents, or even like suspending them. I think pink slips are still effective. Nobody wants that on their record. Some like me, I wanted to go to college. I didn't want anything bad on my record. So even for the students who don't feel like they're geared toward going to college, I still think maybe they should be handled in different ways. I definitely don't think that teachers should be able to bring any form of weapon to school, just like children, because they might have a psychotic breakdown one day and you know, maybe they attempt to kill the students. You never know what's going on with teachers as well as students. So, no, let's keep it two ways. Like, come on now.
Makes sense. All right, thank you, Internet.
No problem.
This is Victoria with Generation Gap. I'm signing out. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Victoria, for that excellent field report. Now we're going to move into our second set of questions, continuing this impressive conversation that we have going on. So with the starting big question I ask you guys, a lot of people argue that without guns, there would be lower crime rates in society in the United States, less mass shootings, and do you think that's a very strong argument?
I mean, I think that you can't take rid of guns completely. You know, there are jobs that need guns. Police officers, they need, obviously, to protect themselves on the job. And I just think that whether or not you take away guns or you take away rights and, you know, make stricter laws, people are just gonna get upset and retaliate in some way, whether that be with a gun or with their hands.
I still think that no matter what, people are going to get their hands on guns. I also think that what you said about lowering the crime rate is possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not a politician, but I do know that most mass shootings are done by gun owners or people whose parents own a gun. Okay, so I do believe that the mass shooting rate will go down, but the crime rate in general, I'm not too sure. Somebody's going to find a weapon. If they don't have a gun, they're going to use something.
I agree, going off what he said earlier about most of the guns being used in just gang violence, things like that, they're not registered. So if we got rid of guns here, it still might bring a problem. They still can get guns from maybe other countries, smuggle things and things like that. So it's, I think it will take the rate down maybe a little, but there will still be that problem with violence just because of where you can get guns these days. You can get them anywhere. Where are they getting them today?
It's easier to find a gun than it is to find a parking spot. You feel me? So.
that is the world we live in today.
That's the world we live in, man.
But going off of what you just said about mass shootings and how it is very easy to get a gun, our very own Vice President Joe Biden said, we are the only civilized country that has mass shootings. Do you think this still qualifies us for a civilized country? I
don't think that's such an oxymoron thing to say. Mm-hmm. How are you civilized if you are okay with all these mass shootings? There obviously needs to be something done about that. There was a recent law that was passed at Texas colleges that allowed students to have guns on campus, and that's just is mind-blowing to me. It doesn't make sense, and I just think that there's absolutely no civilization with that. I mean, how can you call yourself that?
What's the exact definition of civil? Because my definition, it has to do with people are following rules accordingly, people are following laws, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, it depends on what your real idea of civil is. Mass shootings aren't civil, you know. Mm-hmm. That's breaking the law. You're not supposed to shoot anyone if it's not self-defense or if you don't have the right to. So I don't think being okay with mass shootings is civil at all.
I want to call us animals or anything, not like that, but as far as the question goes, I understand what they're saying. It's not civil to just go out and shoot somebody and be violent, but at the same time, it's not everyone in the country. It's that small percent that's making it bad for all of us. So it's hard to make the decision of who's civil. I consider myself as civil. We're probably all civil, but
for the most part,
it's just those moments in where you see on the news something happen that it's disappointing to see.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly what you guys are talking about. But right now we're going to turn it over to Malusi for another set of questions. Malusi, it is all up to you.
All right, Malusi.
Hey everyone, this is Victoria, your host for Generations Gap's Field Report. I'm here talking about the topic of gun control, and I'm here with Jess, and she's going to answer one of my questions. So Jess, do you think guns should be banned?
I don't think guns should be banned for everyone, maybe more regulated. Maybe ex-convicts or criminals, they shouldn't obviously have access to guns or any weapons like that. But I think people, that live in maybe a rougher neighborhood or in the city, they are allowed to have guns, for self-protection and stuff like that.
Okay, cool, awesome answer. Thanks, this is Victoria and this is Jess, and we're signing out.
Cut. Well, I grew up, loved drawing, making movies and painting. Ever since I was 9 years old, I wanted to be a comedian.
Thought I had it all figured out.
I always did really great in school, got really good grades. I was involved in a lot of extracurricular things.
And,
I thought that I had it all figured out.
I always thought I'd make something of myself. And then I decided to drink and drive.
Next thing I know, I was off-road going down a hill. And I'm dead.
I thought I had everything planned out.
I thought I had it all planned out. I never thought that one decision would end my life.
And then I decided to drink and drive.
Until I decided to drink and drive.
Until I decided to drink and drive.
Until I decided to drink and drive.
I thought I had it all figured out. Until I decided to drink and drive.
Thank you, Victoria, for another great field report. But now we're going to get back into the discussion. And we're having a great discussion. I will tell you guys that. But the very big question I'll start off with is, do you think all guns should be under gun control, or at least should only militarized guns, so example like assault rifles, tanks, you could say, missiles, do you think that should be under gun control, or should all guns?
Let's see. Do you want to take it away?
I would say all regular civilians don't need to be carrying like semi-automatic weapons or like anything, or like big tanks, missiles, guns, all like that. So I would say if it was determined to keep some, I would say the smaller arms weapons, so like some like handguns and things like that. But I think like the huge kind of weapons, I don't think that somebody that's not trained to use it or needs to, I don't even think somebody would really need that. Like even shooting, if you're going hunting, you wouldn't need a huge like AK-47 or anything like that. So I think there should be certain weapons that are restricted completely.
Yeah, I think that anybody who is just like a general civilian that wants to go and purchase a gun should have like some restrictions, because those are the kind of people who are probably going to go out and not use it properly. But like police officers, people that are trained to use these weapons, I don't think that they need any restrictions on that. They're trained to use those guns properly.
I don't trust the cop with his hands, okay? So I'm not going to trust him with the gun. I'm not going to trust him with anything. I'm not going to trust a cop around me. I don't trust anyone, period, let alone someone I don't know with a firearm, okay? So when you say should all guns be controlled, it's not my job to say who can control a gun, right? It's my job to protect my family, the people I love, and myself, okay? So when it comes to that, I think people who are irresponsible with weapons are going to get a weapon, period. So I think the most we can do is prepare ourselves for that. When someone with a weapon comes at you, I think it's right that you have a weapon to defend yourself. So I honestly think that the way things are right now is okay.
And going off of what irresponsible people you were talking about, and also crazy people we were all talking about earlier in the discussion, do you think that there should be a psychological test that people should go through in order to gain a permit?
Well, yeah, that's actually a good idea. Yeah, I think that would actually...
I think that it's people that have like backgrounds in like psychological illnesses and stuff should not be permitted to purchase a gun. Yeah. Someone with like a criminal record should not be able to purchase a gun. And I think that that's kind of already set in stone. I mean, I hope so. That would kind of be logical.
I believe you need a background check, but I think that's a good idea, having that. But then again, people can always, they can't always do it, but like there's always that one person that will slip through the cracks and pass the test, but really be thinking something else in their mind, you know. Yeah. That can always
Yeah,
surprise.
or get like a friend to buy them a gun. Like people that aren't 18
There's
years
still
old still get
places
cigarettes.
that-
Like
People change their minds all the time. So, I mean, even if you're psychologically okay to hold a gun, I don't think that test is definitely, I don't think it's foolproof. I don't think it's bulletproof, if you will.
And going off of the test, everything exactly, why do you think this is such a big topic today? Why wasn't it a big topic in 1960s? Or maybe it was. Or why is it such a big topic in 2015?
I think that guns are just so easy to get a hold of that people use it like it's nothing now. I mean, people weren't this violent back then. Like, I mean, I guess I wouldn't know. I wasn't there. But I don't know. It's just they're there and people use them for not the right reasons. And
actually, I'm going to cut you off right there. I'm sure you want to say something really quick, but we're going to turn it over to Malusi for another set of questions. Malusi, it is all you.
Before we go to commercial break, I have another question for you guys. Has gun violence increased or decreased since the 1990s? The answer when we return.
It's hard to explain. It just became home. There are hundreds of majors and programs, bachelor's degrees to PhDs, small classes and faculty that really get to know you. Amazing internships and everywhere, programs that help to find a job that is right for you. It's what IUP is about, a commitment to your success. See it for yourself. Visit us, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Find your success.
Success. We see it every day. Choose from hundreds of majors and programs. Learn from faculty truly committed to you and your success today and tomorrow. And join 120,000 alumni in thousands of careers all over the world, ready to help you find your way. I'm IUP President Mike Driscoll, and I invite you to apply now and find your success at Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
Welcome back. Before commercial break, I asked you guys, has gun violence increased or decreased since the 1990s? It has decreased. Now back to our show.
Thank you, Malusi, for that wonderful set of questions. But now we are going to get into our last set of questions for this discussion. And we're going to set off with a big question for you guys. How is race correlating with gun control? For example, if a black man compared to a big group of white people, do you think that would correlate with gun control?
Yes, I do, man. Sandy Hook, for example, soon as people heard about that, gun control, that's all you hear in the media, gun control. Why? Because the targets were white kids, white people, right? Recently, I'm not sure if it was St. Louis, somewhere in the South, a white kid goes into a church, kills most of the people in the congregation, including the pastor. I don't hear too much about gun control. When the people in that city fight for gun control, the politicians fight back, right? Race definitely matters. For whatever reason, race matters, and racism is the reason. But whatever is deeper, whoever is pulling the strings, I don't know why white people matter more, but they do.
I mean, I agree with that. I think that when a white person shoots someone, oh, they're psychologically ill, something's wrong with them. But when a black person shoots someone, they're doing it out of hate, and they are like a gang member or something, you know? There's just like so many stereotypes on that, and
it's ridiculous.
I agree 100%. I'm not sure what to even add to that, but I agree with what they were saying. It's usually when it's more violence when it's a black person, but it's just, it's all in their head when it's a white person. So there needs to be, it's just a fine line with gun control, not, it's just this or it's just that. It needs to be solved as a whole.
Yeah, for some reason, they like to take the responsibility off of white people. They like to say that black people have clear minds and clear foul intentions to do something wrong with a gun. For some reason, black people are always in their right mind when they're shooting somebody, right? At least in the media. And for some reason, a white person is always out of their mind. And I think it should be equal. I think if both people are clearly psychologically conscious of what they're doing, they're both equally wrong. You feel me? It's not that both of them have a psychological problem or both have a clear, or one has a psychological problem, other has a clear mind. I think it's most of the time these people know what they're doing.
And going off of that, in the Declaration of Independence, it says everyone has the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Let's say someone who has right to bear arms comes and kills another person, which is very common in today's society, as we've been talking about. That deprives that person that was shot life, also liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Do you think that this Second Amendment is also violating the Declaration of Independence?
Good.
I think the people twist the words and make it so that, like the right to bear arms, that doesn't give you the right to kill someone. So they're taking it, I have a gun, so I'm mad, so I'm going to kill this person. So it doesn't give you the right to, they're taking the rights into their own hands, kind of. Like, this is not what the forefathers had planned. I think if they saw it now, they would be kind of disappointed of what happened to what they tried, the guidelines they tried to set up, and how people are taking them nowadays.
Yeah, and in certain southern states, they have that if you fear for your life rule, right? And you can argue that you fear for your life in any situation. If you have a good enough lawyer and you have a good enough voice, you feel me? So I do think people twist the laws. People definitely twist the laws into their advantage, even when they know they're wrong.
Yeah, I think that the right to bear arms doesn't interact with the right to the pursuit of happiness. I mean, that's the right to bear arms. It's not the right to kill someone.
Exactly. And right now we're going to close up this discussion. This has been a wonderful episode of Generation Gap Gun Control. I am your host, Vincent Lowry. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and like us on Facebook, and also look us up on YouTube. But thank you to my wonderful panel members of Hannah, Julian, and Mary. This has been Generation Gap. I am your host, Vincent Lowry.